It began like any ordinary celebrity headline, one of those simple, predictable updates that people scroll past without thinking. A breakup announcement here, a relationship shift there, the kind of thing that trends for 24 hours before disappearing into the endless churn of celebrity news. But this time, something was different. When the notification popped up across millions of phones, social media didn't simply react, it erupted. Timelines filled with disbelief, comment sections ignited with thousands of shocked messages, people typing so fast that the posts appeared in waves. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform turned into a battleground of confusion, heartbreak, fury, and absolute disbelief. Because the headline people saw wasn't just announcing a divorce, it was signaling the beginning of a revelation so massive that it would dominate the internet for weeks. The headline read, "Crystal Barron and Travis Cole announced divorce after 11 years. And at first, that seemed like the full story. Sad, surprising, but not unusual. But then, only moments after the initial announcement, Crystal went live, and everything people thought they knew about this couple shattered instantly. The raw, trembling confession she shared didn't just change how fans viewed her marriage, it detonated into a full-blown public catastrophe that no one, not even Crystal herself, could have predicted. For more than a decade, Crystal Barron and Travis Cole appeared to be the rarest thing in the world of entertainment, a rock-solid celebrity marriage. Crystal, the Grammy-winning singer and beloved reality TV personality, was known for her powerhouse talent and infectious charisma. Travis, a successful producer with a reputation for being calm, steady, and grounded, seemed like the perfect counterpart. Together, they appeared at award shows hand in hand, shared interviews where Travis praised her brilliance, and even filmed family-centered reality episodes that painted their life as balanced, loving, and stable. Fans adored them. Even weeks before the scandal broke, Crystal stood on stage at a major live event in Los Angeles, her face glowing with genuine affection as she thanked Travis publicly for being her anchor during some of her darkest moments. The crowd erupted in applause. Clips of her speech went viral, captioned with hashtags like relationship goals, power couple, and love is real. Everything about their public life suggested unity, devotion, and trust. No one, not the fans, not the media, not even the people closest to them, suspected that beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect partnership, a devastating secret had been brewing for more than a decade. And then, without warning, the illusion collapsed. When Crystal went live on social media, millions tuned in within seconds. Her face looked drained. Her eyes were swollen, as though she hadn't slept in days. Her hands trembled each time she wiped away tears that kept forming faster than she could stop them. It was immediately clear that this was not a publicity stunt, not a PR ploy, and not a manufactured storyline crafted for clicks. This was a woman standing in the wreckage of her life, struggling to breathe under a truth she no longer had the strength to carry alone. In a voice breaking under the weight of heartbreak, Crystal admitted that her divorce from Travis was not just the result of drifting apart or growing differences. It was the result of a betrayal so massive that she had spent months debating whether to reveal it publicly. Finally, with millions watching in stunned silence, she said the words that would set the entire internet on fire. Travis has been living a double life. The comments froze for several seconds, an eerie digital silence before exploding so violently that the platform began to lag. Crystal continued, explaining that Travis had not only been emotionally distant or secretly unfaithful. No, what she discovered went far beyond anything she or the public could have imagined. For the entire duration of their 11-year marriage, Travis had been hiding an entire second family, a second home, a second life. And worst of all, he had been legally married to another woman the whole time. The shock was instant. Fans gasped, cried, raged, and spun into investigative mode. Social media detectives dug through old posts, comparing timelines, analyzing his travel photos, even studying Crystal's old interviews for signs of hidden pain. This wasn't a scandal. This was a digital earthquake, and Crystal was caught right at the center of it. As Crystal continued her confession, it became clear that the betrayal wasn't something she discovered in a single day. Instead, she admitted she had felt something was wrong long before the truth finally surfaced. At first, she brushed off the red flags: his sudden disappearances, unexplained trips, the emotional distance that grew thicker each year. She chalked it up to stress, to work pressure, to the natural ebb and flow of a long marriage. But somewhere deep inside, she felt the truth clawing at her. Crystal revealed the moment she discovered the proof, describing it as a moment that felt like being punched straight through the soul. She said she stood in the living room of their home, staring at undeniable evidence, documents, photographs, messages, while her knees buckled beneath her. For several seconds, she couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. She couldn't even cry. Her world simply cracked open. But what shocked fans even more was that Crystal admitted she didn't speak out immediately. For months, she carried the truth alone. She still went on stage. She still filmed episodes. She still smiled for cameras. She still posted family photos. She did all of this while feeling as though she was living inside a nightmare she wasn't allowed to wake up from. "I felt trapped," she whispered during the live stream, voice trembling. "I wanted to scream the truth, but I was humiliated. I didn't know how to process the fact that my entire marriage wasn't real." It wasn't just the loss of love. It was the loss of her identity, her stability, her sense of reality. And for Crystal, that pain was far more devastating than the betrayal itself. Once the confession spread, social media turned into a full-blown investigation unit. People pulled up old footage of Travis from award shows and interviews, zooming in on his expressions and gestures, analyzing every moment he seemed distracted, distant, or uncomfortable. Others dug through his social media posts, comparing timestamps, cross-referencing events, searching for clues of the double life he had been hiding. On TikTok, creators stitched together timelines and speculations. Twitter threads spanned hundreds of posts. Instagram flooded with edits, tributes to Crystal, and angry posts demanding Travis respond. But Travis remained silent, completely silent. No statement, no message, no denial, no apology. Fans found this silence infuriating, especially as more details leaked. Photos of suspicious trips, questionable hotel check-ins, messages between Travis and unknown individuals. Each leak triggered another collapse of the internet's sanity. But while the world demanded chaos, Crystal refused to engage in public war. She didn't insult him, she didn't attack him, she didn't even raise her voice. Instead, she delivered truth with calm, heartbreaking clarity. "This isn't about revenge," she said during her second live stream. "It's about freedom. It's about healing." Despite everything, the lies, the betrayal, the emotional destruction, Crystal revealed they still had to communicate because of their children. Her voice softened as she admitted how difficult that reality was. Fans were stunned. They expected explosive fights, legal battles, chaos. Instead, Crystal showed maturity and restraint that people praised across the internet. She said her priority was protecting her children from trauma, even if it meant facing the man who shattered her trust. But she was also honest about her emotional collapse. She admitted that some days she couldn't get out of bed. Some days she felt hollow, numb, unable to breathe, beneath the weight of a truth that would haunt her for years. "I didn't just lose a husband," she said. "I lost the version of my life I thought was real." Those words hit millions of people deeply. Fans posted them as quotes, shared them in videos, added them to edits. Because for so many, Crystal's story wasn't just celebrity drama, it was a reflection of their own pain, their own betrayal, their own heartbreak. But however, before the truth exploded into public view, everything seemed perfectly normal on the surface. In fact, days, literally days before the announcement, Kandi stood on stage in front of thousands of fans during BravoCon, glowing with pride as she praised Todd for supporting her, standing beside her through media storms and holding their family together through the wild ride that is reality television. They smiled together, they posed for photos, they appeared unified, unshaken, and unstoppable. It was the image of a strong marriage, a relationship that had survived scrutiny, chaos, and the reality TV spotlight. To the outside world, Kandi and Todd were as solid as ever, a couple that had defied the odds. But just behind that polished exterior, a storm was about to erupt. One Kandi had been holding inside her chest for months, trying desperately to conceal the weight of a truth she could no longer carry alone. Then, suddenly, everything changed. With puffy eyes, trembling hands, and a raw vulnerability fans had rarely seen her from, Kandi stepped forward and spoke her truth. In a deeply emotional confession, she revealed that her marriage to Todd was officially over after 11 long, complicated years. But the divorce itself wasn't the shocking part, not even close. What stunned the world, what pulled the breath out of fans' lungs, was the secret she had been forced to keep inside, the secret she finally allowed herself to unveil. Kandi revealed that Todd Tucker, her husband of more than a decade, the father of her children, the man she thought she understood more than anyone else, had been hiding an entirely separate life. Not a fling, not a short-lived affair, but a second marriage and a second family. Another wife, another household, another life she had never known existed. Imagine loving someone with your whole heart. Imagine building a life, a home, a family, a legacy, only to find out that the person you trusted most had been splitting himself between two worlds, two identities, two versions of reality. This was the nightmare Kandi Burruss found herself living. As she put it, nothing could have prepared her for the truth. She said she had sensed something unusual for a long time. Small changes in Todd's behavior, unexplained absences, emotional distance that came and went like shadows. But even with those subtle signs, she never once imagined the truth would be this catastrophic. It wasn't just betrayal, she admitted in her tearful confession. It was the destruction of everything I thought I knew. It was like watching my entire life turn upside down in a single moment. What may surprise people even more is the fact that Kandi didn't expose Todd right away. She didn't run to the media, she didn't lash out on social platforms, she didn't turn her heartbreak into a spectacle. Instead, she carried the secret silently, painfully for months, trying to protect her children, trying to contain the emotional wreckage long enough to decide what to do. She explained that she wanted to tell the world the truth the moment she discovered it, but she couldn't bring herself to destroy her own family's stability before she was emotionally ready. It was eating me alive, she confessed, but I had to think about my kids. I had to think about what this truth would do to them, to us. For months, she lived trapped between emotional agony and public expectation, trying to appear strong while internally battling heartbreak that few could understand. When the truth finally came out, it didn't just mark the end of Kandi's marriage, it marked the collapse of trust itself. The foundation she believed was solid had been nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion, one that Todd had maintained for years. She described how she began replaying every memory, every milestone, every fight, every intimate moment, wondering what was real and what was fabricated, wondering how she failed to see what was happening right in front of her, wondering how the person she loved most managed to hide an entire marriage from her for over a decade. I wasn't just betrayed by Todd, she said through tears. I was betrayed by the life we built, or the life I thought we built. Fans erupted on social media as the news spread like wildfire. Many expressed heartbreak for Kandi, a woman who had always carried herself with strength, integrity, and transparency. Others questioned how such a colossal secret could have been kept under wraps for so long without anyone noticing. Everyone had questions about Todd, about the timeline, about how this secret family lived their lives, and about how Kandi ultimately discovered the truth. comment sections exploded, speculation intensified, and Bravo fans started analyzing years' worth of footage, interviews, and public appearances in an attempt to uncover clues that, now in hindsight, seemed almost too obvious to ignore. But nothing, no rumor, no suspicion, no online theory, came close to the actual truth Kandi had been living with. But here's the twist that left people even more confused. Throughout all of this, Todd never once spoke badly of Kandi. He never weaponized the media, never fired back, never posted cryptic quotes or defensive messages. In fact, just weeks before everything became public, he publicly praised her, calling her the GOAT when she accepted a Lifetime Achievement Award. Imagine the dissonance. The same man who had been living an entire secret marriage behind her was publicly applauding her accomplishments like nothing was wrong. Even as the divorce became public, Todd maintained an almost eerie silence. No statements, no denial, no explanations, just quiet respect. Fans couldn't figure out whether it was guilt, fear, manipulation, or some twisted attempt to maintain a cordial facade. Despite everything, Kandi made it clear that one thing mattered above all: her children. Riley, Ace, and Blaze were innocent in all of this. They deserved stability. They deserved parents who could set aside their personal heartbreak long enough to co-parent with maturity. And so, even though she was drowning emotionally, she forced herself to remain calm, composed, and focused. She said plainly, "We're not friends anymore, but for the kids, we have to figure this out." It wasn't easy, not even close. But she refused to let Todd's betrayal impact her children's lives. She refused to let their innocence be tainted by adult deception. And that choice alone showed a strength few people could ever embody.
As time passed, Kandi started a new chapter, one built on healing, rebuilding, and rediscovering herself. For years, she had defined herself as a wife, a mother, a partner, a teammate. Now she was forced to define herself as something else, a survivor of betrayal, a woman reclaiming her identity, and an individual who deserved honesty and loyalty. She began focusing intensely on her career, her businesses, her family, her emotional health, carving out a future where she was once again in control. "I'm my own first choice now," she said. "I refuse to be defined by someone else's lies." It was the kind of strength that inspires millions, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, people can rise. As the weeks passed, more pieces of Travis's hidden life surfaced. Old messages, bank statements, travel logs, suspicious photos, all indicating that his deception stretched back further than anyone realized. But Crystal, instead of drowning in the chaos, began transforming it. She started speaking openly about her healing journey. She appeared in interviews where she talked about trust, love, emotional abuse, and rebuilding self-worth. Then came the moment that went viral across every platform. During a quiet, heartfelt interview, Crystal said, "This chapter is finished. I'm stepping into my life again." That sentence became a phenomenon. It symbolized strength, resilience, reinvention. Thousands of fans commented that Crystal's ability to rise despite losing everything she thought she knew inspired them to reclaim their own lives. Even through the wreckage, Crystal chose hope, and in doing so, she turned one of the most devastating betrayals in modern celebrity history into a story of survival and rebirth. This wasn't just a celebrity breakup. It wasn't a scandal for entertainment. It was a collapse of an entire emotional world, a betrayal that shook millions of people who had believed in a love story that now lay in ruins. But instead of turning the story into chaos, Crystal Barron transformed it into a testament to courage, clarity, and rebirth. And as the world watched her rise from the ashes, one truth became unmistakably clear. Even the deepest heartbreak cannot destroy a woman who chooses to reclaim her life. Thank you for watching. If you want updates on Crystal's journey or more deep dive breakdowns like this one, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because this story is far from over.